All right, it's recorded. We're good. What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. C.J. Simmons
How's
of
it
Hill
going?
Country Revival.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning, man.
Morning.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yes, sir.
So we didn't get the chance to actually bring our logo here, but the name of this, I don't know if I told you about, it's actually called Off the Cuff Conversations. And there's a few different things with that. You were a pretty huge inspiration. I wanted to talk to people who have found a way to release from that grip,
right?
You know what I mean, from that 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And that's part of our logo, and we'll put it up, so it's actually on the video itself too. But yeah, man, I just wanted to thank you.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah, I like it, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
I'm happy for you, dude. It's pretty badass what you're doing.
Yeah.
What do you feel now that you're finally blowing and going with your music career?
I feel like I'm finally doing something right. You know, I didn't plan on going to college or anything when I was in school. I didn't have any other goals or anything like that. I just straight to work, and you know, that was oil field and construction and things like that. And every time I would get burned out within a matter of a year and a half or something like that. I quit my job. I never got fired or anything like that. I'm not a lazy person. I didn't like doing something that I didn't like to do, and it got to the point where I was getting pretty low and down and stuff, and I was like, you know what, man, I have this talent and this drive to play music and stuff, so I'm making just close to what I'm making on the weekends, as far as a paycheck and stuff, working and stuff. So I'll quit my job and you know, see if I can make it and stuff. And ever since then, man, it's been going uphill. It hasn't really, other than like COVID hitting and stuff and kind of slowing us down, you know, it hasn't really dipped down other than that. And I'm happy, man. It's awesome.
You wake up in the morning knowing you're doing something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, it's easy for, like, I'd say people in America to kind of say I'm going to chase and go after my dreams, but it's also one of the things where, like, if we have the opportunity, we might as well do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is, I would say, easier in this country just from going all over the world and working to be able to do that. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, because people will tell you, oh, money isn't the you know, source of happiness, but you got bills and food and all that other stuff. So where's that happy medium?
Yeah, and you know, I'm very lucky that you know, my girlfriend, you know, she works in the hospital. She's got a great paying job, and we help each other out as much as we can.
Yeah.
And also my parents. You know, my parents are my biggest fans, my biggest supporters, and regardless of you know, where I'm at, they won't let me fail. You know, if it gets to that point where I have to get a job, then I get a job. You know, my dad will kick me in the ass and tell me, hey, dude, you know. But as of right now, things are going so good for us, and I'm not exactly where I want to be as far as money, but I'm getting by, and right now it only looks like it can go up. So I'm gonna stick with it, and you know, hold out and see how far I can take it.
Yeah, I think that's where guys like you and I are gonna find happiness, is in the struggle. Like, I'm trying to do a million different things at once,
right?
But I know that that's where I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's making me a millionaire.
Yeah.
But if I wake up in the morning and I'm at least not dreading what I have to do, then it's pretty good. Kind of like the I don't know. I've been thinking about Conor McGregor a lot lately. What happens when you reach the top of the mountain?
Right.
What happens when you become king of the world? You know, what happens when you get all the money and you're no longer able to say, oh, well, I'm worried about money. I want that struggle. Can you remember the grind? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I mean, with this scene that I'm in, it doesn't get much bigger than Texas. You know, I mean, you can go outside of Texas and play music and stuff, but you're not gonna be topping the USA charts or anything like that with the Texas country music. So you don't you can get to a point where you're successful and you have a good amount of money, but you're never gonna be stupid rich, and all that, and that's not what it's all about. I just want to get to the point where I can, pay all my guys to play full time. They can quit their jobs and eventually buy me a house and some land and stuff like that. And as long as I can keep playing music, I'll do it till the day I die, man.
Yeah, the music and that. We talked a couple of days ago about that leadership role that you're now in. Whether it's, I've always been interested in kind of the lead singer's burden, because in the military we call it the burden of leadership. It's obviously separate and different, but anybody who's put in that position, there are a lot of things that you have to deal with that I guess people don't.
Yeah, we went through a lot of stuff. I joined Hill Country Revival back in right at the end of 2019, so coming into 2020, the new year, and I won't say any names, but this guy that was in the band was kind of the lead role and stuff, and calling all the shots. And I had only been playing music for maybe a year and a half, doing acoustic solo gigs and stuff, and joined the band. And like I said, he had this lead role. He was in charge of everything, calling all the shots, and I didn't have a problem with it because I was so green and so new to it that I needed someone to kind of show me the way before I was able to start, taking the reins and controlling everything. But this guy wasn't doing it right, and towards the middle of the summer, I kind of started realizing like, hey, like this guy's gonna run me into the ground and ruin me, and probably the rest of these guys if we keep going on the track that we're going. Ruining relationships, burning bridges, things like that. His communication skills weren't very great.
Yeah.
And so I started kind of putting my foot down and taking charge and stuff. And luckily I had the other guys kind of backing me up. And I had to do a lot of growing up as a musician and as a person, because I've never been that kind of guy that's gonna like step up. I hang back and just let whatever happen. But I got to the point where I was like, you know what, man, this is my career. I'm putting everything on the table for this, and I can't let one person drag me down. So started taking that lead role. We ended up firing that guy, and that just meant that role was getting put in my hands, not completely, but a little bit more. And the thing is I always wanted a band because I grew up listening to the older rock, 70s and 80s rock and things like that.
Right.
And I like the idea of being a band. I always watched like the behind the music and all that kind of stuff. And now in Texas country, you get a singer who finds guys to play for him, and it would be CJ Simmons and the whoever's, or just CJ Simmons and stuff. And I didn't really want something like that. I wanted a band, I wanted a family and stuff, and that's what we are. Especially after this incident that we had to go through, we became brothers like immediately, and on top of that, it turned into an actual business where we started. We had to do everything by the book with a lawyer and all that stuff, and like I said, it was just a lot of growing up that I had to do in a short amount of time. But I'm glad it happened in an early stage of my music career. That was year one for me, but ever since then, man, things have been going great. And we going back to the band thing, it's not always on me to make the decisions and stuff. I feel like it's more on me to make sure that everyone has their fair share of their input, and just kind of as a moderator, kind of keep everything in line, and let everyone voice their opinions and stuff, and just make sure everything's fair and all that.
That's badass. So even with that guy, like you were saying, even though you didn't know what to do watching that dude. You're like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I know I'm not supposed to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And now you're in that role. And I mean, I always wanted to figure out why it was that you chose to go the band route. You know, I don't think I've ever asked you this. I've seen you play by yourself.
Yeah.
I've seen you play acoustic, and I was like, man, it should just be CJ
Yeah.
Simmons, you know,
Yeah.
in my eyes. But now that hearing you explain it and hearing what you wanted and the philosophy behind it, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, because, you know, when I started, I would open up for a couple of my, you know, buddies and stuff, and people that definitely been doing it longer than me. And I watch how they get a guitar player or a bass player or a drummer, a new one almost every other gig, and I was like, man, I don't want that. I want a group where I can call them and be like, hey, dude, like, let me go stay at your place for a couple days. We write some songs, whatever, and it's always gonna be the same thing every time. Where you know, with you hire a new bassist or a new guitar player, you want to go write something with them, and it's gonna end up different just because it's obviously a different person. And I want someone, you know, people that I could grow close to and experience this crazy thing that we're doing together, and not have to worry about who the hell's going to play this next gig for us, or, you know, things like that. I just wanted it to be a tight family.
Yeah, not have to filter in and out of people. I mean, if you look back at some of the great bands, and you know more about this than I do, how consistent. I mean, a lot of them are pretty consistent with the members, right?
Yeah.
Or whenever somebody leaves, when it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. It's either they're together or they're done, man.
Yeah, they're done. Or even one person leaving or going off and do its own thing can kind of sometimes be the demise of the band. So you're starting off with that focus of remaining a family. It'll help you guys out later when inevitably, I think you will have to deal with the problems, I guess, of being famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when more money to come and all that stuff. So hopefully that philosophy guides you guys, or you guide your guys.
Yeah. And another thing is I'm not huge on making new friends, and I don't mean that like I don't like making new friends. I'm very to myself unless I'm with people that I really know, and it would be kind of hard for me to just keep getting attached to different people every month or so. We get a new guitar player, then I gotta learn about this guy and you know, try and get close to him, that way I don't mess up that relationship or whatever. And I say I'm not very good at that. I do it all the time, but I get uncomfortable, and that's just part of the reason why I want, you know, guys that aren't planning on leaving and all that. We work, you know, we have problems, we work them out, you know. So
yeah, I think you'd be able to tell on stage too, like the dynamic, and because when you guys play, man, it's like you and the other guitarist,
Colton,
he's a rock star.
Yeah,
and he acts like it, you guys feed off of each other. Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's great, man.
Everybody is.
I got real lucky that band falling into my lap, man. Or the other way around, however it happened, but they're all a little older than me, and they're done with their partying days. We still cut loose every now and then, but go to a show and it's business, man. We're not sitting there chasing women. We're not getting stupid hammered. We got a goal, and it's to rock out, man, and spread our music. So I like that about them, is that they're older and they're just strictly business right now.
So right now, when you guys play, which songs are yours that you name?
So we got Silver Fox, Whiskey Runnin'. We just have a new one called 35 that I wrote a couple months ago.
Which is badass, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Southern Rain, and I have a little acoustic song that I play kind of in the middle called Willie Pete.
Yeah.
Those are mine right now. We have a couple more that I'm working on, but for the most part, we got those. And then the band struck a deal with a guy before I joined and recorded a full album of this guy's songs named Billy Eli.
Mm-hmm.
And great songs. You know, I sing them. We sing them every time we play, and they're good songs. And I'm kind of trying to get away from them just because I know they're not mine,
Right.
and it almost feels dirty to me, like calling them original songs and stuff, and or Hill Country Revival songs. But my ultimate goal is to get away from those and replace them with songs that I wrote or the band wrote together. And then we do some cover songs. We do some fun. We do some Skinner, Freebird and Allman Brothers Band, just things like that. So.
Yeah, and the music writing process, I think when we did our hike on the beach or something I was asking you about, because for some weird reason, I've always considered myself like a closet poet. I got words that no one will ever read, right? But that's another thing that intrigues me about you guys is you have that ability to not only put stuff down, but then put it out.
Right.
And it's kind of, I don't know, to me it's terrifying. It's like super exposed.
It is, man. And the worst part is once it's out, man.
That's it.
And you can pull it and stuff, but it's out there. It as far as the writing, we never really we sat down one time together and tried writing and stuff, and we got some good stuff out of it. That song Southern Rain, we kind of finished that one. It was something that I had started, but for the most part, Whiskey Run and Silver Fox, I had those songs written. Those were my first two songs I ever wrote, and had them written before I even joined the band. So that was the first thing we did when I joined. Back in 2020, we took those two songs to the studio, recorded them, and just threw them out there. And it's weird, Whiskey Runnin' it's a fun song, and I think I consider it kind of a goof song. It's all about my buddies back home and stuff. And I thought Silver Fox was going to be the one that kind of not skyrocketed, but I thought that was going to be the one that got the most attention. But it was the other way around. Whiskey Runnin' got picked up, and we pushed it to the radio, and it got put on some pretty good playlists on Spotify and stuff like that. And it's just like, man, you never know what's gonna happen. So
it's not the one you plan. It's not the one you plan, but it's working out anyways.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so Silver Fox, I personally love hearing the story. Maybe not the whole story, but I'm guilty of this too. I'll listen to a song for years or a decade now, and I'm like, I never know what it's about. And then I finally find out what it's about. I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool. So Silver Fox is about.
So, at first when I wrote it, I was calling it about this one particular woman. But the more I think about it and stuff, the more it was about a number of women that every time me and my buddies would go out and hang out and go drinking and stuff, I was never getting hit on by girls that were my age. They were all older. So there was this one that had silver hair, and my buddies called her Silver Fox and stuff like that. And I just took it home one day, and within a matter of 20 minutes, man, had this whole song written out. And I was like, oh wow, like, because Whiskey Runnin' was the first one that I wrote.
Yeah.
And I would, like I said, it was kind of a goof song. I'd play it around my buddies just when we were drinking and stuff, and I never felt like it was complete. I was always telling them, yeah, it needs more, or I need to do something different. But when I came and threw Silver Fox together, I was like, oh, this is a song, man. Like, I'm doing this right now. But yeah, that's what it's about. Just kind of how it's always been older women that make the jump.
It's funny, and the reason I bring it up is because when I listen to it, since I know what it's about, it makes, not that it makes more sense, it's a little bit more powerful. I'm like, holy crap, this guy, I think it really speaks to your ability as a songwriter when you know what it's about and you end up listening to it.
Yeah, because it's not so black and white. You listen to it and you're not going to be like, oh, this is an older woman. But yeah, it's just the wine drinking and all that, it explains an older woman. So.
Yeah, it explains it pretty good. And that's what I'm fascinated with, your ability to take an idea, or any songwriter really, or any poet, to take an idea and put it into words in a way where, man, it doesn't make sense if you don't either dive deep into it or know what the hell that person's talking about. But when you mentioned, so your hometown is, just so that people know.
Orange Grove, Texas.
Orange Grove, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a very, very, profound gratefulness for that town.
Yeah.
I spoke about this on our last podcast with my buddy Kodai. I don't know that we're going to be able to get that one
Yeah.
out just because of some technical difficulties. But Texas in general, man, like everybody knows me knows I'm a Californian, but it's something about you guys. It's something about ever since I got here, when I first met everybody, that kind of drew me to this place.
Yeah.
And obviously ended up bringing my entire family out here. Texas has given me more than I could have ever imagined. And I think it's, I don't know, I think it's important to kind of point that out, you know?
Yeah.
Especially whenever I get the opportunity or a platform like this or things that I'm doing or work that I'm able to do. We work in the oil field together. It's everybody from that Orange Grove community, you know what I mean, has been phenomenal. And I really don't think I'd be where I'm at today if it isn't for Colton, Russ, and the Russ family and everybody from Orange Grove. So, I just wanted to say thank you publicly to a representative from Orange Grove for all of that.
Absolutely, man. It's a, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with that town. You know, in high school, I hated school. Yeah. You know, I was ready to get out and leave Orange Grove and stuff, and it happened. I came here to Corpus for a little bit. You know, I lived in the hill country for a little bit, and when I started playing music, I had just moved back from Bandera. I was living up there. I decided I was going to move. I quit. I believe that was when I quit the oil field. Quit the oil field, went to Bandera. I was like, I'm going to play my music, but I hadn't played in front of anybody yet, other than my friends.
Yeah.
So really, I just hid out in the hills for a couple months, and you know, obviously money started running low and stuff, and I was like, all right, well, I got to go back to work. So I came back to Orange Grove, and started working again. But then I started playing music, and there was a distillery, a vodka distillery, called Wild Rag in Sandia, which is a little town right outside of Orange Grove. Went there for an open mic night. It wasn't my first time at that point playing in front of people, but it was maybe my third. Yeah. I played a couple songs, and they were like, hey, we want to book you and pay you and stuff, so, you know, let's get a date. So I booked a weekend, played out there, and they started, that was the only place I played for a long time. Yeah. But it was awesome because each time I played there, more and more and more people would show up, and at that point I wasn't even playing originals. It was all covers. Yeah. And man, it turned into the thing where it was like, oh, CJ's gonna be at Wild Rag, like we're all going, and that I would pack that place out, and it was awesome. So eventually, that place, you know, decided they were gonna close down. And
they closed down? I didn't know.
Not closed down. I believe he sold the company, so they stopped doing the live music and the vodka tasting and stuff. Gotcha. So there's a little bar up the road that is called Grunt's Cantina, and that became my stomping grounds. And I started playing there, and it was the same thing. It was, hey, we're gonna go watch CJ play at Grunt's this weekend, and it got to the point where there were some shows where like you couldn't even walk in the back. You know, it was so packed, and it was so fun. It's my favorite bar to go to. I still love going there. But out of that, I started realizing, like, okay, I don't think it's not that I don't like the town. I guess I don't like the landscape and stuff. I go to the hill country, and I love being out in the nature and stuff. I love it so much. Down here, you know, it's farmland, and that's all you get. Yeah. And I know it's necessary, but I don't like going out there. And, you know, I want a place I can walk around and think and stuff and all that. But it dawned on me that, okay, this is your place because of the people, not because of where it's at and stuff. So I started to fall in love with it. You know, I still go back to Orange Grove and play, and every time it's the best turnouts that I get, you know. Yeah. So I owe a lot to those guys because there's a lot of people there that have helped me out, over the years, playing music and stuff, and they're my biggest supporters. So it means a lot.
That's that small town. Like I said, it was a culture shock for me when I got to this town that had one stoplight. There's not even a stoplight; it's a four-way.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, getting to kind of soak all that in and realizing that there was a different way to live than than out in LA. But it's something drew me to it, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think I'll ever go back to LA. I just can't go back.
Yeah.
But that hometown support you're talking about, I don't think you could replace that.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
I'm with you though on the flat landscape. This place is a little too flat for me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the beach, I'd have been gone.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's just too flat.
No, I hear you, man.
Colorado's too expensive.
Yeah.
We might be getting some land out in Colorado. So.
Nice. Yeah. Now that I think about it, that's my only negative thing to say about this area is just the farmland. I'm not saying the farmland is negative. It's just
you're not saying fuck farms.
Yeah. It's just it's hard to draw a lot of inspiration off of flat dirt.
Now I know why there's so many country songs that talk about back roads.
Yeah, that's all you got.
That's all you got over here. Oh man. But talk to me. So and another thing with you, you're younger than me, and you're closer to where I know other people, like our producer. That age, right after 18, 19, 20, 21, when you were trying to figure it out. I think, for example, I'll give you my own story. Like I always knew I was going to be a Marine.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to join. So when I hit 18, it was like, I know that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Wherever that branched me off to, that's where I ended up, right?
Yeah.
I really just can't imagine what it's like after that break-off point.
Yeah.
After 18, you know what I mean? And how you ended up to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, for me, I started playing guitar, trying to play guitar. I bought my first guitar when I was probably 10, and man, for the most part, there was one string on the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I'd sit it flat on my lap, and I'd play with my thumb, just Smoke on the Water, because that's the first song any guitar player ever learns. And I was always interested in it. I just didn't know where to take it, and how to learn and all that without having to go to a class or anything like that. And man, I would sit in my room, lock the door, blast some Aerosmith, and just sit there in front of my mirror pretending like I'm performing in front of people. And I'll never forget in high school when they started, senior year, they're starting to, hey, what are you going to do with your life and stuff.
Yeah.
I never thought about college. It never crossed my mind. I was ready to get out of school, and that's all I knew. And I told the counselor, I was like, well, I'm going to be a musician. And she was just like, all right, like that's what we'll say. So when I walked the stage at graduation, that's what they said. CJ Simmons, musician.
Really?
Yeah, and at that.
I asked your mom for that.
Yeah.
I want to see that video.
At when that happened, I was like, oh, what did I do? I felt like I messed up. And when I got a little older, I would think about it. I was like, man, like, what about my dad and my mom? Like, how did they feel about that and stuff? Because I wasn't playing at that time, and that's a weird thing to say. I'm gonna be a musician, but I don't know how to fucking play.
Right.
So, cut to my first job. I'm 18, and I go in the office, and the guy, he's asking me, he's interviewing me. He said, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I want to be a musician. Still don't know how to play, but that's what I want to do. And then I look back at that like, man, what the hell were you thinking? Like, why would you say something like that? So I kind of dropped the music for a while. I would still fiddle around on the guitar and stuff, but I never got that serious into it. And I started working in the oil field, and right around that time is when I started drinking a lot. And I was, getting close to turning 21.
Yeah, so you weren't even 21.
Yeah. And that's all I worried about was, when am I going to get home to drink with my buddies and stuff like that. And I quit that, started working at an electrician company, and then I turned 21, and it was hammered down. Every weekend we were here in Corpus, spending what money I had on drinking. I mean, you were there for some of those nights,
Yeah.
and I was in a bad relationship and stuff like that, and it got to the point where I started getting sick because I was drinking too much. I messed up my stomach and stuff, and was told I had to stop drinking for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it kind of just kicked me off of it. I still drink. I don't even remember the last time I got drunk. I sip on whiskey or have a couple beers, but I stopped doing that, and it kind of started focusing on my music a little bit more.
Right.
And where I wanted to be, I wasn't worried about where am I going to be drinking this next weekend. It was like, all right, dude, let's start getting your shit together.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm working at this electrician company. I started gigging at that point, and like I said, man, I started making the same amount of money I was making in 2 weeks working at an electrician company in just one weekend.
When you say gigging, you mean like shows?
Yeah. This was just me
I'm
alone.
not an Aggie, but I'm thinking of the Aggies.
No, this was just me playing acoustic shows in Orange Grove. That's all I was playing at the time, and got to the point where I was making more money, and I was like, you know what, like I'm getting close to where I just want to quit, and on top of that, I don't know if anybody from that company is gonna be listening, but I just wasn't happy there.
Yeah.
I've always struggled with being told what to do and stuff, and I was a top guy there. I was 3 years into my 4-year apprenticeship, so one more year and I would have become a journeyman.
Right.
And could have been making more money and stuff, and they tried getting me to stay. They offered me money, and I was just like, man, I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm done. Like this isn't what I want to do and stuff. So quit, started playing music, and from that moment everything just felt right and stuff. There were some times where it was like, all right, like, and it still happens, like, what the hell am I doing,
Yeah.
Is this gonna work out? I stress about it almost every day, trying to figure out, I gotta write a song, or like, what are we gonna do next, and all that. And so that turning point was around 22, 23, whenever I decided, like, all right, this is exactly what I want to do. I always knew I wanted to do it, but I was like, it's possible for me to jump and see what I can do, and it was the best decision that I've ever made. So
yeah, and that's what I kind of want to expose out there and talk to people about, especially normal people, right? Like guys like me and you. Eventually you'll get too famous to talk to, but being able to explore that emotional no man's land.
Yeah.
At whatever age, whether it's 18 to 23.
Yeah.
For like I experienced it at 23 when I got out of the military, and it was just kind of scary,
Yeah.
It's like, where am I supposed to land? It's just now to where I'm finally getting some traction where I think I know where I'm supposed to go. But that emotional no man's land,
Yeah.
for getting people to talk about it so that other people can kind of hear it, like, well, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's carving your own path and stuff. I remember one of the things that kind of showed me that I was doing the right thing was my dad sat me down and talked to me about how he remembers graduation day.
Yeah.
And he remembers me, every time someone would ask, like, what do you want to do? I want to be a musician and stuff. And when I started talking about, hey, you know what, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to take this on full time, he told me, like, dude, I was worried. He's like, I just, I knew that you had the passion for it and stuff, but he's like, I didn't want you to fail, and I felt like that's where it was going. And then he told me, he's like, I started watching you and watching the crowd and stuff, and his mind totally changed. So when he told me that, I was just like, all right, he's my mentor, he's my best friend, and he's not gonna lie to me. So obviously, I'm doing something right for him to be saying good things about it, So that, and I've never had, I've been extremely fortunate that I've never had anybody to my face. I don't know if people would say anything behind my back, but tell me, what are you doing, dude? Like, go back to work. Everyone that I have ever played in front of or ever met, as far as, at gigs and stuff like that, have told me, like, dude, keep it up, man. Like, you're doing awesome. So there's never been any negative feedback to my face, so that's just an extra boost, man.
I know in our friend circle, like, when we kind of found out, it was just like, holy shit, it's about time.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
And there's always and it wasn't jealousy like in a bad way, but it was jealousy where the rest of the world, whatever the percentage is, call it 90-10. 90% of the world is stuck in shackles, and it's nothing. It's not a bad thing to work for. I'm not knocking people who work 20 years. Some people do it for kids. Some people do it for whatever the reason is. It's just there are people on the other side. I think salaries bring a sense of comfort and a sense of, I know, and I talk to my dad about this all the time. My dad's a hustler. He's gonna make money one way, shape, or form. He doesn't have a salary. So it's one of those things where you almost kind of cap your own potential when you have a salary. And I know those things come with their own careers and different sets of goals, but it's nice to talk to somebody, and it's nice to hear the explanation of someone on why they didn't want one. I just, like you said, you just knew. You knew you weren't supposed to work a 9 to 5. Nothing on the electrician company. I'm sure they're great people and supported you and stuff, but it's just not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, man, and I think a lot of the problem is people get stuck, man. When I was in the oil field, I mean, you saw that car that I bought when I was making that money.
You've had quite a few cars.
Yeah.
You gotta remind me.
When the Mustang.
50th? Yeah,
the Mustang. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done, man. And luckily, my parents were like, you know what, we'll take over that car. Like, that way you don't have to worry about it. But at that point, I realized, like, hey, dude, like, you make that money, you don't have to spend it like that, because then you're gonna end up stuck.
Right.
And luckily, I was able to get rid of that car and start over again. And now, I'm like, all right, like, I buy what I need. Right. And when I get to the point where I can afford this stuff for real, and really think about it, then I'll do it. But it's a thing, man. You get stuck in that lifestyle of buying all kinds of stuff, and then you can't leave.
Stuff you don't need. And for what reason?
Yeah.
I mean, there is no reason. You buy stuff you don't need to impress people.
Yeah, unless it's a guitar collection.
Well, yeah. I don't. Luckily, I mean, I've been trying to think of what my vices are for money. It used to be cars. You saw me when I met you, but now I'm just debt just scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I try to live my life with as minimal amount of debt as possible. That's why I didn't even want to buy that other house that I told you I bought. But yeah, man, it's a different frame of mind between, I guess, hustlers and not to say that people who work a 9 to 5 aren't. It's just the guys like Brian, which we'll have on, and from Green Waves, which we'll introduce here in a second. Guys like that are an inspiration.
Yeah.
And guys like that let other people know, hey, there's another path.
Right.
Or if you're thinking about jumping, just jump, man.
Yeah.
Just jump and do it. Sales too, like, sometimes you can cap yourself. You know what I mean, with the salary.
Yeah.
With sales, if you don't have a commission, or if you don't have a salary, you're on commission. Hey, it's up to you on how much money you want to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how I feel with some of this. I have my other job that I leave for every now and then, but I eventually want to end that too.
Right.
And I want to have enough out there to where, I mean, this isn't my $1 million idea, but it might be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This, I don't know what it'll turn into.
Yeah.
This is going to be our official #1 podcast.
Sweet.
So, or first one, I should say. Excuse me.
Yeah, man. That's that's something I told my girlfriend too. When we started getting real serious, I was like, look, I had just quit my job. It's like, I'm gonna tell you right now that way you can think about this. I'm willing to do what I'm doing right now for the rest of my life, playing, whether I make it big or not. Playing bar gigs on the weekends and all that. Making a couple grand on the weekend.
Right.
I can do that and live in a damn trailer and be happy, you know. So are you prepared to deal with that? And you know, she's been very supportive of it, and you know, I think she knows what the deal is and stuff. So that right there alone kind of helps me, because she keeps me settled down and stuff. I have no want to go out and get crazy anymore. I go and I play my music, and I get to come home, and that's it, you know.
It keeps you anchored.
Yeah.
But it's good because it keeps a little bit of a burden off of you, as far as like, oh, I'm expected to make it big because I'm trying to be a musician.
Yeah.
Right. And not that you'll have to live with disappointment if you don't, but at least you relieve yourself of that burden.
Right.
You're doing it for the passion.
Yeah.
You're doing it for your own wants and needs and stuff. And that's pretty cool. I don't know how many musicians go into it thinking, I want to be a famous singer. You know, when you said, I want to be a musician, that's different than some kid saying, hey, I want to be a famous singer.
Yeah, you know, I think it's both. You know, I think you run into people that are definitely just in it for the music completely. But in order to be successful, the fame comes with it, you know. So and that's what you look for, you know. Like I said, I want to get to the point where I'm comfortable and the rest of my band's comfortable. Yeah. You know, and whether that means we're stupid famous or we're just famous enough, you know, wherever that point is, I don't really care. I just want people to come to our shows, listen to our music, and us get paid for it, to where we don't have to go and work construction and all that, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the fame part of it. Like I said, it's just it comes with it a lot. You know, like I said, when I was young, I was sitting in front of a mirror pretending like I was playing in front of an audience, a crowd, like. Right. And that's wanting that fame, that people to know who you are and people to be listening to you and stuff like that. So you got to balance it out, because there's guys out there where you can tell, oh, I'm just here for the fame and the title of musician. Right. You know, I dress the part.
And the accolades that come with
it. And you can always tell who those guys are, and you can also tell who the guys that don't give a shit about it is, you know, and sometimes those are the cooler ones.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, man, you gotta find that balance with it.
That's awesome, man. This is a good time to introduce Green Waves, our sponsor for today, Green Waves CC. Check them out online. They'll answer any questions you have. They're here on the island, the North Padre Island. Brian McBrayer, the owner, veteran himself, and supporter of both of us, man. He's a great overall dude. Like I said, he delivers all over the country. Go on there, go online, check him out. And also, we're sponsored, I guess, by my other company, I guess you could say, which is actually Sheep's Clothing. And I get the question a lot, what's the company? Is it Redefined Violence or is it Sheep's Clothing? Actually, Sheep's Clothing Company. And what we are is, my partner and I talked about it, we're a brand that wants to unite any and all people who have any sort of violent skills and arts. And the term Redefined Violence comes from, you know, wanting people to not feel scared, you know, about their own abilities. Somebody who grew up fighting just doesn't have the same way of looking at the world as you and I do.
Right.
You know, someone who spent 20 years in law enforcement, or a veteran, or an archer, or a hunter. I always use this analogy, like a jiu-jitsu player can't hug you without knowing how to choke you. You can't hug his own mom, you know, without knowing how to choke her. It sounds messed up, but it's true, right? A boxer doesn't stand in front of you without knowing the angles. A police officer, you know, always has to sit near exits, and that's what our design represents. I don't know if you can see it on camera. If not, we'll put it up on the video as well. And that's the Sheep's hoodie. You know, that's what we wear every day. You know, yourself, you're an archer, and you know that there are certain skills that you have that other people just don't possess. Yeah. And that Sheep's hoodie to us represents just trying to blend in. Yeah. You know, trying to blend in, but underneath, we're just different.
Yeah,
you know,
I love it, man.
It just is the way it is. And I wish the one with my partner would have worked out, but we talked about it. We're not a t-shirt company, and we don't want models. You know, it's weird because we sell T-shirts and we need content.
Yeah.
So we just want to keep that philosophy like you, kind of the original love for what we're doing. We just want normal people out there. We want people to reach out to us, and you can't buy a T-shirt. You can't just go online and buy it. You just reach out to us on Instagram. Quick 1 second or two, one sentence. Hey, I'm this. I practice this, man.
Yeah.
Hey, awesome. Here's our Venmo. Hey, pal, shoot us your shipping address. You'll have one out to you tomorrow. And more questions on that, I'll probably do its own independent podcast when I get back from work. But anyways, those are 2 sponsors for the day.
Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, I don't want any more. Do you?
What's that?
You want some more whiskey?
Man, I'm good.
You sure?
If you don't want any.
No, I'm good, dude. I got a bunch of shit to do today. Like I said, I'm going to work again, and that's something that I don't want to be over, but I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's time.
Yeah.
I think it's time to at least start looking for something. Before, I was the type of person that I just wanted to go to work, and I go away for work and work on the other side of the world. Now it's kind of like, well, I think I've done what I needed to do. Let's see what else I can do. But I'm like you, I can't do a 9 to 5. Spending 20 years at the same place scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It does. It's terrifying. I went through the 89.2% of the Corpus Christi Police Academy and ended up getting hurt catastrophically.
Yeah.
And I look back on it now, and not becoming a cop was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I know I would have been unhappy, right? I know I probably would have gotten in trouble, and it's a tough time for those guys out there right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough time, and my hat's off to them. Just not for me. I wish God would have went about it, or whatever you believe in, a little different way. But I feel like he was kind of pissed off that I was even there in the first place. So he or she or whatever, lizard people, I don't know. But
yeah, man, it's weird. You find yourself turning into a different person whenever you're doing something that you don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
And I was angry all the time. I'm still full of anxiety, but I was a wreck.
Who isn't?
Yeah. And the drinking, I was drinking all the time. Every weekend, sometimes during the week and stuff, and it got to the point where it's just like, man, I'm tired of all this. Like what am I doing? And quitting working and jumping into the music. Like I said, I never felt more sure of something, even though I wasn't sure of what was gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It was weird. It was weird, but it's working, man.
What you're kind of feeling from, I'm not a doctor, but that passion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that passion that you're describing, and you just know, and your eyes light up, and the way you're talking about it. I think that's what we as people, as humans, kind of need. We need to find a passion, and if you are working that 9 to 5, find something that you just get obsessed with and get so deep down into where you can experience that emotion. You know what I mean? Almost to the point of like tears. I love this so much that I need to do this every day in some way, shape, or form. Because if not, what's left? Waking up, going to work, getting off work,
drinking.
Drinking.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with drinking. It's just when you do it as much as I guess we used to do.
Yeah.
And my partner and I talked about that too. He came up and visited me. He and I, we're boozers, man. We're we used to be stupid about saying Marines are supposed to drink. Boozers through and through. And he called me about 2 weeks before he came out and was like, "Hey, dude, I just want to let you know, like, I'm not drinking that much anymore." And what I heard from that was like his vulnerability to kind of let me know, like, "Hey, dude, I know this is what we do, but I don't want to do that." And I took that to heart, man. I took that to heart. We were up in the morning, we were hiking every morning. We were going to jiu-jitsu, we were working out, we were doing our own thing. It was a completely separate guys trip than what we were used to.
Right.
But it was so liberating. I think we had 1 glass of whiskey while we were here. We had like 1 beer while we were out. And I wanted to show him and me, like, hey, we can go out. let's just have a drink.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
do it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things. Being a musician, that whole style of drinking and doing drugs and all that. It's one of those things that's kind of expected of you.
Comes with the territory.
Yeah, and there's times where I've been real uncomfortable backstage. I've never been into drugs or anything like that, and it's just sometimes you don't feel like a musician when you're not taking part in that kind of stuff, But
yeah,
it's I try and stay away from that shit as much as possible.
That's the mature move, man.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. It's like one of those things back in I guess it's back in high school, I guess you could say. But it's not giving a shit what other people think about you. Now, at the stage we're at in our life, we have that ability. Back then, it was like, oh, I kind of care what everybody thinks,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it just doesn't make you anything less just because you don't want to do lines off of
Yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean? Off of a
toilet seat.
That's when you know you've reached a new low, and I think it's your responsibility to tell that person, like, look, let's find another surface.
Yeah.
How do you even do that? It's a circle. It's supposed to be straight. Or an oval.
Oh, man.
That's from the movies that I've seen. I don't know what.
Yeah. I've seen it, man. I've seen it.
Seen it off of toilet seats.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I wish that was a lie. I do, but I believe you,
Yeah. That's crazy, man. But yeah.
No,
go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, where can we find your music right now?
So right now, our music is on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music. I think iTunes is the same thing. I don't know. I don't mess with that stuff. But we're on Pandora. All that stuff. We have music on YouTube. We have a music video for Silver Fox out that we shot last summer. I believe we have a Bandcamp. If anybody follows that, I know we got quite a good following on there. We don't have any CDs, any hard copies or anything like that yet. But right now we're getting the ball rolling on an album. So we're starting to talk about it and figure out what we're gonna do. And hopefully we start getting in the studio by the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And once we do that, then we're gonna hit it full force. Do hard copies and maybe even a couple vinyls.
Do they even still make hard copies?
Yeah, dude. People ask for them all the time.
What?
It's crazy. You go to the show.
Buy a newer car, people.
Yeah. When we play shows, people are constantly asking for stickers and CDs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Cool. Maybe for you to sign them.
Maybe just to have. I don't know. But
that's pretty cool. I know vinyl's making a comeback.
Yeah.
I know it's making a huge comeback.
Yeah.
I know you can't go anywhere now
No.
without seeing them. But how'd that music video shoot go?
It was cool, man. It was about 102 degrees outside and about 120 in the old house that we shot it in.
Yeah.
So we were there for like 8 hours just repeating the song over and over and over again. But it turned out pretty cool. The place we shot it at was this place called the Longtime Sandlot, I believe, in Austin. And Jack White from the White Stripes, he actually kind of helped build it, and they go out there and they play Sandlot baseball, man.
What?
And they have live music and stuff, but they had this old building this old house that they had bought, wooden floors and everything like that, and we just kind of shot just a video of us playing in a house, man, and it turned out pretty cool. So it was real. It was hot, but it was cool.
Yeah, I never knew how much went into like one scene of a music video. My partner and I, our other partner from another company, we did a private security gig, right?
Yeah.
We did a executive protection gig for a client, and it was the same part of the song over and over
It's
and
annoying.
over and over from different angles.
Yeah.
And it was a hip hop artist, so it was the environment's just a whole separate podcast.
Yeah.
But it was crazy.
Yeah.
To see that, and I've seen music videos, nonstop. But
Yeah.
I never knew what went into it, and I always wondered. I was like, I wonder how many times. Probably twice.
Yeah, I mean, ours wasn't a party or anything like that. It wasn't that crazy. I mean, we had some drinks and stuff like that, but we, yeah, man, it was really hot that day, and we're in a old building, no AC or anything like that, and just 8 hours of, and for me, like I couldn't just lip sync to the music.
Right.
Because I just, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I was, like, it didn't, to me, it felt like it wasn't going to look like I was actually singing. So I was singing the whole time. So, you know, that's probably, man, we played that song over and over and over and over again for hours, and it was tiring, man. It was rough, but it turned out awesome. So.
Yeah. What do you do for your voice?
One, try to quit smoking.
Yeah. Don't smoke.
Yeah. That, you know, that's one thing I'm trying to do completely, but I just rest, man.
Yeah.
You know, don't sing, don't talk, try not to talk as much. It's
So I bring him on a podcast and talk for an hour.
no, I played 4 shows this past weekend, and you know, Monday my voice was shot, and now, you know,
really?
it's fine. It's just I sing super, you know, I get into it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a grittiness to my voice that takes a lot out of me. Like, I almost passed out last time we were here in Corpus playing at Brewster Street.
Really?
Yeah, we were doing House of the Rising Sun, and there's this one part where I wail on it, and man, my vision sunk in, my knees almost gave out. I told my guitar player, I was like, hey, free bird, and we're done, man. But yeah, you know, I strain a lot, and it gets pretty rough the next day, but I'm not one of those guys that warms up or anything like that.
Right. You don't do that.
I went to a vocal coach.
Uh-huh.
She taught me some things that really helped, but during the pandemic, when we were just kind of sitting out, I kind of lost all the habit of doing that. So it's something I need to start getting back into.
Yeah. That's where when I used to smoke, the next day, like after a night out, I would love my voice. And it just sounded so deep, so manly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm glad I ended up stopping that nonsense too.
It's weird, man. Like we'll be playing a show. Like if I'm doing a 4-hour show, which just kicks my ass, it's so long for someone to be playing. During my break, I'll ask, like, I don't necessarily want a cigarette, but I'll ask someone, mostly Colton Edwards, because he's always there.
Shout out to Colton Edwards.
Shout out. And I ask him for a cigarette, and I smoke it, and my voice feels a little bit better afterwards. Yeah. So, like, it sucks, because I use it as an excuse sometimes, but...
We got to find a better remedy for
right?
it, man. I'm sure Brian's got something for us in the shop. Or you can check out greenwavecc.com. But yeah, man, cool. Well, thanks for doing this again. So your music's on Spotify, iTunes, can pretty much everything.
Hill Country Revival. We have Instagram, Facebook. Hill Country Revival. I think our Instagram is Hill Country Revival Official.
Okay.
But
and then after, so on the YouTube portion of this, we'll put up like your band logo.
Yeah.
We'll put up your Instagram handle and stuff.
Yeah.
And same thing with Green Waves. And then for Redefined Violence, you can check us out on the Instagram at Redefined Violence. Message us if you're a violent type of person and who's got a good heart. And thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thanks, dude. Thanks for doing this. How was that? What? Oh, shit. Oh, I wasn't recording.